Welcome back to the Judo Wall. I'm Dennis Jones, and today I'm going to cover another topic in preventing fraud. This is a service called 3D Secure. Many of you probably know 3D Secure for when you buy something from a desktop device, it'll pop up a window that will ask you to enter a few digits of a password that you've set up with your issuing bank. So let's take a step back, and even if you know what this is, let's talk about what's actually going on there. So the purpose of 3D Secure is to add an additional layer of authentication to a payment. In a card-not-present environment, the merchant takes all of the risk of a payment unless 3D Secure is in place. When 3D Secure is activated on a merchant's account, it shifts some of the liability away from the merchant and back to either the issuing or acquiring bank, and generally the issuing bank. It's not 100% taking away that risk, but it generally takes away a great deal of the risk, because what's happening in this process is the bank is using their own customer account to verify that the person entering those card details is the person that they think should have those card details. It's called 3D Secure because it's doing three-dimensional security in the minds of those who have invented it. And from Visa, they call it Verified by Visa. For MasterCard, they call it MasterCard Secure Code. So, what are some of the good parts and bad parts about 3D Secure? The good part about 3D Secure is that it takes away some of the risk from the merchant. And in some instances, it has been shown to increase the level of trust that consumers have in a website. However, there are some drawbacks, and the drawbacks are pretty significant on a mobile environment in particular. So when 3D Secure is enabled, after the customer's entered all of their payment details and they hit submit, they are redirected to a website that looks something like this. And again, this website is hosted by the issuing bank. So if you have a credit card issued by Barclaycard, this will be a Barclay hosted page. And so the problem on a mobile device there is the amount of time it takes to load that page leads to a drop-off in conversion. And two, these pages are generally not designed very well for mobile. And so where you're looking to enter your 3 characters in your password, that becomes quite difficult in many instances. The other problem with 3D Secure on a mobile device is oftentimes people haven't registered for 3D Secure. And so if it's a new card that you have, or it's someone who's just never been exposed to 3D Secure, so a good example there is most Americans have never really used 3D Secure. And other markets outside of core EU markets, 3D Secure is new. The first step is going to be launching a page hosted by the issuing bank that asks you to register for 3D Secure. So again, you're increasing the number of steps that lead to conversion drop-off. In our fraud product here at Judo, what we do is we try and limit the usage of 3D Secure as we weigh the costs and benefits of conversion versus preventing fraud. And our unique solution allows us to route transactions after they've hit submit based on a fraud score that we put against that transaction. And so if we think it's a very low likelihood that it's a fraudulent payment, we'll route it in the fastest route possible and avoid 3D Secure. But if we fear for you, our customer, the merchant, that this might be a fraudulent payment, we'll route it down the 3D Secure route to try and continue to hold that customer while protecting you. However, if we just know it's a bad payment and it raises all sorts of flags, we'll immediately deny the transaction so you don't incur any cost. So again, 3D Secure can be a very useful tool, but it's one tool in your box. And what you need to make sure you're not doing is being overly reliant on something like 3D Secure, because it'll drop off the conversion in your solution and people will go elsewhere for the product you're providing. That's 3D Secure, and I'm Dennis Jones. Thank you for joining us today at Judo Wall.